Welcome to Boise Song Talk. I'm James Coberly Smith. Give me just a second, set this guitar down, would you please? Thank you. Songs. What are these songs? Well, consider this. On the one hand, we have, oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain. On the other hand, we have, he did the mash, he did the monster mash, the monster mash. It was a graveyard smash, he did the mash. Completely different songs, but they both work. Now what we're going to be doing on Boise Song Talk is we're going to be speaking with a number of the great local songwriters about how they write their songs. Now they're all great live performers, and I encourage you to go out and see their live shows. However, we won't be emphasizing performance here. Instead, we'll be focusing on how they write their songs. Now, I'm going to start this thing off with a song of my own, then we'll go over and meet tonight's special guest. You're just deep down beautiful, you've always been that way. You're just deep down reliable, like the month of May. I won't ever get over you, trust me when I say, hey, you're just deep down beautiful, I always see you this way. And when the dry spells come, you know the dry spells will. Oh, I'm gonna stand here patiently, I got some time to kill. Every road has got a bump or two, no matter how it's paved. Yeah, I will never give up on you, I hope you feel the same way. You're just deep down beautiful, that's all I have to say. Now let's go over and meet tonight's special guest, Andy Byron.
Hey, James.
Andy dang Byron. Hold on, buddy. Hold on. There it is.
How are you?
Good to see you.
You too.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. All right, my friend. Now, I've seen you on stage in numerous situations. I saw you on stage at the Knitting Factory. You were opening for Travis Tritt, and other places, many other places. The thing I've always thought about you on stage is your ease on stage. When I saw you at opening for Travis Tritt, it dawned on me, you might have done this before.
First time.
Was it?
First time,
because that's
yeah.
my first question. Or could you give us a little sense of your musical history?
You know,
I mean, I know that's the first time, so this is going to be fascinating now.
very short too.
Yes.
I've gone back to my, in my 20s. I spent a lot of time, writing songs and trying to get a break in music, and then took about 20 plus years off, and then came back to it 3.5 years ago. We started a CD project, the first CD project, and I've gotten a lot of great opportunities since that came out to do shows like the Travis Tritt and Randy Travis and Michael Martin Murphey, a whole bunch of them we gotten to do in the last couple of years, which has been
neat.
A blast for me.
Yeah. I guess they must like it. They keep throwing you on the bill.
Yeah, or under the bus. I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe. No, carry on a little. So did you start playing music at a young age?
I did. I started taking guitar lessons at about 7, 8 years old, and learning Kingston Trio songs right off the bat, Gordon Lightfoot songs, and then that, of course, led me to starting to want to write songs when I was in my early teens, actually, trying to come up with ideas to write songs, and that's kind of where it started. And spent way too much time in college writing songs. That did impact my length of time I had to spend in college. The little distraction.
Is that your excuse?
That was my excuse. And folk music scene going on in Denver, that was also a bit of a distraction.
Now, you told me once that you wrote your first song. You could remember writing
did.
your first song. You were at a young age. What you said?
I probably was about 14, maybe 15, and I just determined I needed to try to write something. I mean, my favorite performers and entertainers were songwriters at the time, Gordon Lightfoot for one, and I thought, I got to come up with something. I was looking around my room, what am I going to write about? And I had this picture of Mount Rushmore on the wall, and so I thought, oh yeah, Mount Rushmore. So I could write about the building and creating of Mount Rushmore. Minor, accomplishment. They'd spent how many years trying to build Mount Rushmore? I'm going to write the whole story. But I did some research and started taking notes and putting things together, and I don't remember the song, but I remember writing it, and I remember the experience, and that was a good learning experience, actually.
Can you remember if you used an instrument way back then?
Oh yeah, I was playing guitar.
So now you said though that you wrote down ideas for it. I mean, this is way back.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, it started with the guitar part. Usually, the way I write, I tend, and everybody's different, but I tend to come up with some kind of a feel or a chord progression or a groove on the guitar first, and then start throwing out ideas for lyrics.
All right.
And then once I kind of had the feel and the groove I was looking for, then in that case, I do remember, and then I'd start saying, okay, I've got a couple ideas, and let me learn a little bit more about the whole, experience of building Mount Rushmore, and that's how that started.
Interesting.
I still do that a lot with my songs today. I still start with the guitar, try to come up with an idea, and then expand upon that idea. But the music's usually there first.
Okay, because that would have been one of the things I'd be curious about.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the Kingston Trio. You had told me another time that they were a big influence on you.
Huge, yeah.
Did you also say you played banjo?
Used to play banjo,
Okay,
yes.
just checking,
And I
just
made
trying
a
to
point
get it
not
on
to
the
bring
record.
it today.
Okay, fair enough. But something happened not long ago where you had some connection to the Kingston Trio. Can you refresh me?
I got a chance to meet my hero, one of my musical heroes, Bob Shane, one of the founding members of the Kingston Trio. I had a thing I went to down in Phoenix. I knew he was down there. I did have his email address. That's a long story how I had that. And I sent Bob a note saying I was going to be in town. Is there any chance that I could take him to lunch and just get a chance to visit with him? And he was gracious enough to say yes. He said, call me when you get to town. So we took him out, myself and a few friends, and actually he gave us a tour of all the Kingston Trio memorabilia in his house, held his 2 Grammys, looked at the Life magazine cover on the wall. It was a really neat thrill for me.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, how's about you turn loose one of these Andy Byron songs for us?
Well, I have this CD project I told you about that we started about three or so years ago. Was really started. I had songs written for each of my 3 daughters, and even though I hadn't done music in any really professional level for years, I had still dabbled a little bit in writing, and I had written each of my 3 girls, a song when they turned 13, and that was really the impetus that really made me want to get back and record again, because I wanted to get those songs demoed, recorded, and then that little demo turned into a whole CD project. So this was the last of the 3 that I wrote for my daughter Amy, and Lindsay and Casey have their songs on there too. So this is called Lucky Me. Rosy lips, perfect smile, used to hold you, it's been a while, you were my baby, this cowboy's dream. Now a young lady say, lucky me, lucky me.
There you are with that short version again. All right, fine. But
could go
actually,
on
I
and
know, I suggested that to you sometimes, that we can talk more. I know people are fascinated to hear us.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now that song, let's just start with, since you said you usually will have the music first, this was sort of for a situation. You knew you
Actually,
wanted
it was
to
a
write
project.
Okay.
Actually, because I didn't pick the age 13 out of the air. Actually, I had each of my 3 daughters had bat mitzvahs,
Right.
and at age 13, the tradition is, you know, they lead the service, they read from the Torah, they learn the Hebrew and the whole thing, and then they give a speech, and then historically the parents will get up on the pulpit and give a speech about how wonderful their child is and how spectacular and how much they love them. I told my ex-wife, I said, there's no chance that I'm getting up in front of 100 or so people and telling them how I feel about my daughter. I couldn't do it. And she said, oh, no, you just write them a song. And so then 3 years later, I had another project, and then another project 3 years after that. So it did. I do tend to be able to write if I have a deadline for something. Some people can't write that way.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they just have to have inspiration come from wherever it comes. And I have that happen too, you know, but I tend to have to discipline myself, even if it's not a project, to force myself to sit down, get the guitar out, and say, what do I want to mess around with today?
As this song began then, you had the music. Did those lyrics come to you, if you can remember, from the beginning of the song to the end? And did they come fast, or was it?
You know, I spent about 4 hours working on that one day, but I did it all in one day.
Okay.
But it was it was a bit of a project. Some, you know, some songs come really fast. I mean, my most recent song was an hour and knocked it out. But
it's nice.
yes, you know,
I
people
mean,
are different.
4 sounds pretty short to me. That's
4
nice.
was,
you know, it's fun hearing how it comes to different people. But go on. So this one took about 4 hours.
Yeah, and then I didn't know. You know, you don't know how it is after you've lived with it now for 4 hours. You don't know if people are going to relate to it, if they're going to like it. And so I took it home and I played it for Nancy, and I knew it was a good sign when she started crying.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, so that was good.
One of the things that I think I mentioned to you one time about that song for me is the first verse is open to interpretation, that Rosie lives, all the lines. I don't know till maybe the last line of the first verse that it might not be a normal love song.
Right, right.
And that surprised me. I
A little
enjoyed,
twist.
Yeah, a little twist. Enjoyed me. Once I get to the chorus, then by the second verse, it's obvious, you know. So
Right.
I enjoyed that. The other thing that I enjoy about your stuff that works for you so well, I think I've used this term for you before as well, is I think your lyrics come straight at me. And I describe that as being, I know exactly what you mean, except for when you pull those surprises out like you did there. Other than that, I mean, they're not, do you feel that's how you write? I get it. I know what you're talking about usually.
Yeah, I guess I don't write a lot between the lines and a lot of metaphor. I tend to write, it's just maybe more how I express myself. And again, you know, it's just so many different styles. There's no right or wrong way to do it.
Right, right.
It's just what works for you and what sounds right to your ear. And although some of my heroes are amazing with creative metaphors and pictures that they paint, I tend to write a little bit more realistically, I guess.
Now, suppose you're out and about your normal day. You're out, you know, riding a bucking bronco. Or
I do that
roping a
regularly.
doggy. Let's say you're roping a doggy, and a song idea comes to you. How do you capture it, or does it not really happen that way? As you said, you write well when you have a project or a deadline. But are you sometimes riding that bucking bronco and get an idea? And if so, how do you capture it?
Usually a Toyota Sequoia, actually. I get a lot of ideas in that. I wish I could say it was a bucking bronco. If I had one more at my disposal, maybe it would be. I get an idea and I'll write down a couple of words or a line, and I'll save that, and something will hit me. I do, and I go back to it typically. I have a couple things that I'm getting ready to write right now that I've been thinking about a lot, but I haven't had the time or discipline myself to get it done. But again, getting it done is still like a project.
Well, sure.
For me.
But this is interesting, though, because these ideas are coming to you, these are just ideas, little notions or something, without the music. Whereas you said
true.
Usually it starts with music, but now and again you'll get some concept that you're writing down. Where do you write them down, by the way? A notebook or something? Or?
Yeah, or scratch paper.
All right. I hope
literally,
you can
whatever
remember
I can,
where it is. Right.
Yeah, I wish I was more. I used to, when I was a camp counselor, they made you carry the little notepad in your pocket. You had to have your pen at all times. This was back in the 70s. And I've fallen out of that discipline since then. But in fact, you bring that up. Another more recent song that I wrote called "It's Over." Also, I had a line that in my head before I went to the music. The music really gets the writing going for me, but I do sometimes start a lot of times with an idea, or a couple of words or a line.
All right.
But I don't just start writing poetry. I really need the music to propel me.
Yeah.
And the timing and the number of syllables in a line, all that kind of stuff. It's got to work for me. But that other song, "It's Over," I had a line, just another train wreck. And I was thinking, I'm going to write off this train wreck idea, and it was about a breakup in a relationship, and then it ended up being in the song. The train wreck line is in there, but I thought that was going to be the title, and really focus that as the chorus maybe, but just migrate a different way.
That's another newer song, too, that's very strong.
Oh, thank you.
I've told you before, I think your newer songs are very strong.
Great.
So
thanks. I appreciate it.
lucky you.
Lucky me.
Hey, this is an interesting question. I've never really talked about this much. But when you write songs, do you sometimes vividly remember the place you were or something?
Yeah, very much. In fact, I know we're hoping I would do White Picket Fence.
Correct,
That
I
one
am.
comes to mind because I was living in Nashville at the time,
Right.
trying to write songs, and I just went out on my front porch. I can see this like yesterday, and trying to say, what was I going to write about today? And there was this big grassy front yard, and down it there was kind of a sloped front yard area, and then there were all this shrubbery, and buried in that shrubbery was this old rickety white picket fence that had fallen over years before. And I thought, oh, white picket fence, and then that's the beginning of this song. So I knew it was going to go white picket fence, and I wanted to come up with the music that kind of fit that mood for me. So
Let's hear it. Yeah.
dive into it.
Yeah.
Barely 10 years old when Mama passed away. Daddy kept the farm, I can see him plain as day. Think of running like the wind and waiting for the fall. And the old white picket fence, from there I saw it all. And a southern wind, it blows on through the back door, dries the tears in my eyes, and a summer rain washes in behind it. It's pouring on the old white picket fence. turned 18, okay, she gave me all he'd say, to have what he could not at a college in LA. But each time the summer sky would turn black and thunder sound, I'd see the old white picket fence and my heart would start to pound and pound. Yeah. The southern wind, it blows on through the back door and dries the tears in my eyes. And the summer rain washes in behind it. It's pouring on the old white picket fence. It's pouring on the old white picket fence. White picket fence.
All right. This song, first of all, there's a third verse.
Yes.
I should have told you, play this whole dang thing. Tell us, speak to us the third verse.
Oh, it wraps it up, you know, where
Give me those lyrics.
Speak
them to me.
It's been 10 years since he died. I have a fine suburban wife, a son who bears his name, and God, I love my wife. But sometimes on stormy nights when that first drop strikes the pane, I see the old white picket fence out there standing in the rain, and that image of the fence and the rain and the country, and it was just a place I felt that the song needed to go. And it was a made-up story. It wasn't coming from something that happened to me particularly, but I think that a fairly universal message to a lot of people.
One clarification. Was this a 5-minute warning I got here? Is that right? Holy smokes, it is flying by. Oh, my heavens. All right, well, I'm going to make a few comments on this.
Okay.
This song, to me, it's so strong. The opening lines are barely 10 years old. Mama passed away. That's line 1. Mm-hmm. We didn't build to the chorus to get there. So right away, I'm emotionally in this thing. Daddy kept the farm. I can see him plain as day. I think of running in the wind, running like the wind, and waiting for the fall. First time I heard that, I thought, oh, it's a kid running and waiting for the fall. Could be autumn. But there's a completely different way I saw that as I listened more. I think of running like the wind, like this is an intense situation. My mom died. My dad is trying to hold on to the farm. And then waiting for the fall, I viewed as this kid, like, is my dad going to make it? Are we going to make it?
Yeah.
I mean, it really hit me on a lot of levels, those lyrics. I don't even know if you intend them, it doesn't matter. But there's so much that happens in this song. I have to be very fast because we're already heading to the finish. Gee, second verse. The fence stays this interesting constant in this song. It's a tangible thing. Very interesting way of writing a song. Second verse, you're looking back on your youth. Your dad has done these things, and you're remembering your mother with the fence. Third verse, your dad is gone now. I see you back looking at the fence. It's your mom and your dad. And you say, God, I love my wife, as if you're taking it all the way back to the first verse about your dad losing his wife. And it also says your dad passed away 10 years. So it ties up, it takes me back to the 10 years in the first verse. Mm-hmm. Enough chatter. So we only have a couple minutes. Is that right? Is that right? A couple minutes? Hocus pocus. Is that right? Oh, well, all right then. Well then, how's about that new song of yours?
Okay.
I was going to ask you advice for songwriters. Go ahead, try to give us a quick piece of advice.
Well, all I can say is that, like I said earlier, there's no right or wrong. There's,
Okay.
you know, it's all in here. It's what is inside of you and what you feel and a way to express, and everybody has a different way to say it. And things have been said a million times over and over again, and it still works, and people still want to hear it. And I think that's what art's all about. And don't be. I mean, you got to discipline yourself to sit down and do it.
We're going to start doing that tequila song
Okay.
of yours.
Tequila.
And this
My drinking
is for
song.
later, buddy.
Okay. I was high as a kite on tequila last night. Someone said to my baby something not right. And from there, the barroom turned into a fight. I was high as a kite on tequila last night. I've been known to enjoy a couple of brews, and every now and again I do a shot, it's big news. But I had too much tequila, I should have known. When the next thing that happened started to show, a big burly redneck with a mouthful of chew walked up to my baby after more than a few. He said, "Little lady, let me have me a dance." I said, "Out of here, fella, there ain't no chance." Right then and there, the trouble began. If I was smart, and I ain't, I should have just ran. But I stayed, and today my face is afraid. I was high as a kite on tequila last night, yeah. This is where you play lead. Key of C. Woo! Pride is